Operations with functions. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to add functions, subtract them, multiply, divide them, and simplify them. Now, we will be starting at the basics, but perhaps we're more advanced than that. So let's try a little warm-up to assess where you are. X squared minus 4x plus 10 plus 10x minus 18. X cubed plus 8x minus 15 minus x cubed minus 10x plus 5. X squared minus 3 times x plus 6. Two x plus 10 divided by x squared plus 2x minus 15. Now, let's go over them. Depending on which number you got to, you can skip to these timestamps below to work at your level. Number 1 was x squared plus 6x minus 8. Number 2 was 18x minus 20. Number 3 was x to the power of 3 plus 6x squared minus 3x minus 18. And number 4 was 2 divided by x minus 3. Let's start with this question. What is a function? A function is defined as an equation showing the relationship between independent and dependent variables, with x being the independent variable and f of x and g of x being the dependent variables. Some good terms to know are f of x, g of x, like terms, the distributive property, and factors. F of x and g of x are both functions of x. They're just labels for different functions you'll be working with to avoid confusion. The only time differentiating them really matters is in division, because f of x will always be the numerator and g of x will always be the denominator. As such, g of x cannot be equal to 0 because you can't divide by 0. Like terms are terms that share the same variable. For example, in the equation 6x plus 3 plus 2x minus 3, the coefficients 6 and 2 would be like terms because they both share the variable x. Positive and negative 3 would also be coefficients because neither of them have a variable. So, this equation would simplify to 8x. The distributive property is a rule in math that states that an operand, or the number outside of parentheses, must be distributed or multiplied to each addend, also known as the numbers inside the parentheses. For example, take 3x minus 1, and multiply 5 by each number separately. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, so you would get 15x minus 5. Factors are numbers that perfectly divide a larger sum. Both of these terms will be used throughout this video, so keep them in mind. Adding functions. Adding functions is relatively simple. It just boils down to combining like terms. Now, let's give this a try. F of x is equal to x squared minus x minus 8. G of x is equal to 7x plus 10. So first, we need to format it into x squared minus x minus 8 plus 7x plus 10. And now we need to find the like terms so we can combine them, starting with negative x and 7x, which leaves us with 6x. And we can also combine negative 8 and 10, which just leaves us with 2. Since we have no terms to add to x squared, we just drop down and tack on the other terms. This leaves us with x squared plus 6x plus 2. Seems easy? Try this one yourself. F of x is equal to 8x squared plus 6x plus 3. G of x is equal to negative 3x squared plus 8x minus 5. You should have gotten 5x squared plus 14x minus 2. Subtracting functions. Subtracting functions works the exact same way as adding functions, except, well, you subtract. Let's give this a shot. F of x is equal to 2x squared plus 6x plus 3. G of x is equal to x squared plus 5x minus 5. First, format the equation into 2x squared plus 6x plus 3 minus x squared plus 5x minus 5. Now, let's locate our like terms. Except this time we subtract them instead of add them. Going left to right, we have 2x squared and x squared. Subtract them, and you're left with just x squared. Then we have 6x and 5x, which just leaves us with x. And finally, we have 3 minus negative 5. And now, it's important to pay attention to this, because subtracting a negative number turns it into addition. So in this case, we would get positive 8, which gives us the equation x squared plus x plus 8. Now, attempt this by yourself. F of x is equal to 6x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x plus 8. G of x is equal to 2x to the power of 3 plus 2x squared plus 6x minus 3. You should have gotten 4x cubed minus 12x plus 11. Multiplying functions. Remember the distributive property? We're going to be using that a lot in multiplying functions. Because to multiply functions, you must distribute the addends of one to the addends of the other. F of x is equal to x squared minus 3. G of x is equal to x plus 6. Starting off, we need to format the equation into x squared minus 3 times x plus 6. Now, instead of multiplying like terms, we distribute all the terms. X squared times x is x cubed, and x squared times 6 is 6x squared. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. Put it all together and you get x cubed plus 6x squared minus 3x minus 18. Seems easy enough? Give it a go. F of x is equal to x plus 8. G of x is equal to 2x minus 3. You should have gotten 2x squared plus 13x minus 24. Dividing functions. Dividing functions is arguably the hardest thing here because you'll need to utilize factoring, you need to know how to distribute, and you need to know how to simplify. So let's walk you through this. F of x is equal to 2x squared plus 15x minus 8. G of x is equal to x squared plus 10x plus 16. Before we start, I'm going to reiterate this only one time. Differentiating f of x and g of x matters. G of x has to be the denominator and cannot be equal to 0. So, we begin by formatting it into 2x squared plus 15x minus 8 over x squared plus 10x plus 16. To divide these, we have to find factors that cancel each other out. If you can't find them in the equation, it's because it doesn't divide, and it is already in its simplest form. To find the factors of a trinomial, you have to find 4 sets of numbers, 2 that multiply to f of x, and 2 that multiply to g of x. I'm going to elaborate for a minute here, because factoring can be a tad bit difficult. It is important to understand the makeup of a trinomial. It's a of x squared plus b of x plus c. A and b both represent the coefficients in the equation. You have to factor these in 2 separate ways. Specifically, you have to factor it in one way when your a term is greater than 1, and in another when the a term is equal to 1. Starting with the easier one, when the a term is equal to 1, you must find 2 numbers that multiply to your c term and add up to your b term. Then, you slap them onto the end of x to create an equation. We have x squared plus 10x plus 16. For this, the numbers 8 and 2 work as factors, so it would simplify to x plus 2 times x plus 8. That's it. You factor a trinomial when a is equal to 1. For the more challenging part, when a is greater than 1, you must multiply your a and c terms, then find a set of numbers that equals a times c when multiplied and turn it into b when added. Then, you must split the original equation into 2 parts you disregard the original b term and replace it with the factors you found. In this case, 2x squared plus 15x minus 8, you would multiply 2 by negative 8, which gives you negative 16. We must find a set of factors whose sum is 15 and product is negative 16. In this case, that would be negative 1 and 16. From here, we plug them into the old equation to get 2x minus 1 times 16x minus 8. Now, this doesn't exactly look right. It doesn't cancel out any of the other terms, and that is because I left out the final step in my prior explanation. We must simplify them both into the same equation, and we must take one of their operands and replace it with the equations of the other. 2x minus 1 would have a coefficient of 1, which just turns into x. And 16x minus 8 boils down with a coefficient of 8. Put that into an equation and you get 2x minus 1 and x plus 8. And there we go. We're done factoring. So let's get back to dividing. As a division equation, it should come out as 2x minus 1 times x plus 8 divided by x plus 2 times x plus 8. From here on out, it's super simple. Just cancel out the equations which are the same, and then what we're left with is the answer. In this case, that would be x plus 8 and x plus 8. Cancel them out and you get 2x minus 1 divided by x plus 2. Think you can do one yourself? Try this super simple equation. F of x is equal to x squared minus 1. G of x is equal to x plus 1. The answer should simply be x minus 1. I hope you enjoyed.